You're listening to
Wrestling to the Max.
Alert, clear all channels.
This is an exclusive.
How you like that?
And your host, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Hello and welcome to I know it's late, Wrestling the Max Extra number 16, talking about the New Japan G1 Climax 25, nights 8 and 9. Yes, work made it pretty crappy for me to be able to try to get night 8 done. I actually got the written review for night 8 done about an hour before night 9 was going to start. So yes, at 2 a.m. Eastern time, I finished the night 8 review, and then I had to start working already on the night 9 review an hour later. So I basically got me some coffee, took a shower to wake up, make sure I stayed awake, and then I started watching night 9. So, and then I didn't sleep. I still haven't slept. I had to go to work for about 7 hours, and then I'm back here doing this right now. And also because on Saturday, was it Saturday? On Friday night, I kind of got out of whack because we had the tragic, we learned about it on Friday afternoon. It apparently happened on Thursday night. The tragic passing of Roddy Piper. We did a W2M special, a tribute to Roddy Piper. Paul was not with us, but Gary and I talked about his life, his legacy. We had listeners call in and talk about it. It's there on the speaker page, or it should be on all the on-demand places that you normally get the podcast. So hopefully it helped you enjoy some Roddy Piper moments too. It's a huge loss for the wrestling industry, and it'll be interesting to see what WWE is going to do on Monday. In fact, they're already talking about possibly delaying the Stone Cold podcast of the page so they can run a special, which they should, honestly. That's when you have a death that big happen in wrestling, you kind of do need to give him his own special. You gave it to Dusty. You gave it to so many others. He deserves it. Speaking of Mr. Piper, I figured, this is talking about a Japanese company and their big tournament of the year. Did you know Roddy Piper did actually wrestle in Japan? He wrestled for New Japan for 2 years. Not 2 years in a row, but he wrestled in the Tukon series in 1977 for New Japan. He got to tag with Blackjack Mulligan and Stan Hansen to face Antonio Inoki, Strong Kobayashi, Seiji Sakaguchi, Riki Chosu. I mean, so many of the greats did Piper get to hang in the ring with there in 1977. And then in 78, he got to wrestle Tatsumi Fujinami. He was part of the Big Fight series in 1978 as the Masked Canadian. He got to wrestle Tatsumi Fujinami twice, I think more than twice. Strong Kobayashi again. Kontaro Hoshino. Just so many, man. He, Riki Choso again, Antonio Inoki again. Just he got to wrestle so many greats. He got to tag with some greats. Ivan Koloff. I mentioned Stan Hansen. I mentioned a few others. Just pretty cool stuff. I mean, he supposedly hated working in Japan. In fact, he got banned from there supposedly. But man, he got to wrestle with some awesome talent back. And then he even got to wrestle in All Japan in 1983 in the Grand Champion Carnival, where he teamed with Dick Slater against Shurahara, Jinryuchi Tenryu. He got to wrestle him. He got to wrestle Giant Baba, tagging again with Dick Slater and Chavo Guerrero of all people. Just some cool stuff. Giant Baba and Jumbo, Saruta against Dick Slater, Piper, and Mike Davis. I mean, this looks like some pretty cool stuff. He even got the tag with Flair against Jumbo Saruta and Ashura Hara. I mean, they would go on to have some feuds, but the fact that he got to tag with Flair in Japan, that's pretty cool. Again, Piper's apparently on record as hating wrestling in Japan, but that's still pretty awesome that the man, was able to actually wrestle there and wrestle so many of the greats back then. So, yeah, that's part of Roddy Piper's history in Japan there. Figured I would relate it to what I'm talking about today. As I said, just finished watching Night 8 right before Night 9 started, and then had to go to work, and just now getting to do this. I may or may not be really thorough, so, just letting you know, there might be times where I'm not really thorough. I might kind of just give you some analysis and kind of move on with the match and move on to the next one. It is the next day, and it is after having worked and everything, and things escaping my memories. So I apologize if this isn't maybe as best as some of my other ones that I've done, but I'm going to try to keep it up to that quality level. So enough jibber jabber to start. Let's get into this. As you heard Hiroki Goto's theme there at the beginning, I'm sure you can imagine why I played that. He will have a pivotal role here in the first night that we're going to talk about, Night 8, which was one of the big time shows for New Japan as they returned with commentary. They returned with the big production, all that dub music, everything, because they were in Osaka, in the Osaka Prefectural Gymnasium, one of the biggest places that they go on almost any tour, anytime they do something big. We're going to go to Osaka. It was going to be hard for them to top the Katsuri Shibata and Kota Ibushi match from Night 7. But not going to say these guys didn't try. We had Shinsuke Nakamura come back for this show, finally. Good to see him back. Glad to know he's not going to be missing the entire rest of the tour. And just so you guys can figure this out, apparently whenever New Japan is doing this on Samurai TV, which is the all wrestling TV station that they have there in Japan, but it's pretty much in a higher pay tier, so not a lot of people have it. Samurai TV likes to have their own announcers, so that's why you get the no announcers for the stuff on New Japan World, because there are two different companies running that there. When TVSI is doing it, who New Japan has pretty much partnered with, they're also partnered with Samurai TV too, but TVSI is kind of their, not their TV station, but they're big TV station they're partnered with, it has a lot of stuff that they do with them. They're the ones that help produce the World of Pro Wrestling show that's on Access TV as well, so that's there, and that's why you don't have commentary for a lot of these shows. But the Osaka one, thankfully, did, because it is a big crowd, and it plays a pivotal role in some of these matches. So let's get started. The first one, tag team match, Cody Hall and IWGP Tag Champion Doc Gallows of the Bullet Club against David Finlay and Jay White, those Young Lions. The Young Lions kind of did a few things, drop kicks, elbows, uppercuts, the stuff that we normally see from them. Finlay Jr. got the heat segment. The crowd responded to that pretty well. Cody Hall's starting to kind of do his own moves here. He did a rib breaker into a fallaway slam. Gallows kind of does his usual stuff. He wins with a gallows pole on Jay White to look strong heading into the next night of G1 matches, where he will be wrestling AJ Styles. That was kind of your basic tag match. Nothing really you need to be concerning yourself much with there. The next match, six-man tag match, Kota Ibushi, Mascara Dorada, and Tetsuya Naito against Yohei Komatsu, that young lion, NBA World Champion Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and the never openweight champion Togi Makabe. The team of Kota Ibushi, Tetsuya Naito, and Mascara Dorada win after Dorada hit a Dorada screwdriver on Yohei Komatsu. If you don't know, and I still don't really understand why, but Naito is really hated in Osaka. There was a New Beginning in Osaka show back in February where we first noticed this, at least for us. Like I said, we've only been covering this since Wrestle Kingdom 9. That Naito just got booed the crap out of the building. I mean, you would have thought it was an American wrestling crowd. They were just booing him so loud. So, now that I've made mention of that, you kind of understand why he gets booed here. And the cool thing about Naito is he comes out with that Skeletor mask and the suit for the singles matches. But what's cool is he comes out with this Los Ingobernables hat and shirt for the tag matches, and makes him kind of looks like Mike Myers from when he was in Wayne's World, just almost exactly. It's a funny spitting image there of Mr. Myers. So really, you get some fun stuff. Most of it has to do with Dorada and Komatsu. Dorada does a cool cartwheel out of Yohei's Rana that he normally does. They take it to the outside, and Dorada hits an outside moonsault. And they would kind of be involved in the finish later. Ibushi hit a big kick combo and 2 standing moonsaults on Tenzan, so that was the basis of their interaction. Naito kept trying to avoid Makabe, not come into the match or whatever, and eventually he just leaves the ring because he doesn't care. As I said, Dorada finished it off with a screwdriver. This was a better tag match. Fun to hear the crowd interaction with Naito, but still, not much of anything here. So we move on to a 6-man tag match. Tama Tonga, Bad Luck Fale, and AJ Styles against Captain New Japan, Tiger Mask 4, and Katsuri Shibata. This is also important because there's a part here where AJ hits a nasty pile driver on Tiger Mask, and it might have injured his neck, which led him to be out for the next show. I mean, not that people are going to be totally missing him for a tag match or anything, but, I mean, that is pay out of Tiger Mask's pocket there, so... I kind of like this one. Following Shibata had a stare down, some interactions, not a whole lot. But you know that they're kind of going to get into it on the next night. AJ had his issues with Tiger Mask in here, as I mentioned. He just pulverized Tiger Mask's leg, just elbowing it constantly to the point where he had to use a Tiger Driver out of desperation on AJ just to get a tag in. The Shibata and AJ interactions in this are great because it's like a callback to their previous match. They keep running into the diagonal corner because Shibata's trying to do his basement dropkick, and AJ keeps getting up and then just giving him a running elbow or running forearm or something, and eventually Shibata just says, you know what, I'm done with this, and just beat the total crap out of AJ with elbows until he finally got to do the dropkick. Shibata got in the sleeper, AJ blocks it and then hits a Pele. I mean, that whole interaction was not very long at all, but it was still really fun and the best part of this match. Tonga gets in again as he gets the pin over Captain New Japan with his headstringer DDT or waistlock DDT, whatever. This is the second show in a row where he's able to win with that move. Good to know Tama Tonga has a finish. So we go to the final undercard match, 6-man tag. Ryusuke Taguchi and the return of Kushida to New Japan, or at least the debut of Kushida during the G1 tour, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, along with Hiroshi Tanahashi, tag with Gedo, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano here. Tanahashi and Toru Yano are going to main event in Night 9, so you know there's going to be some fun stuff there. What happened here? No, I'm trying to remember now. I was just stoked to see Kushida back. He was booked strong in this match. Of course, he was part of those TV tapings for GFW, along with a few other things that he had to do. Yano does his break routine to annoy the crap out of Tanahashi. Tanahashi knocks him down and does a springboard crossbody. And they really didn't do a whole much, which is fine because they do a whole lot in their match on night 9 that we'll get to. The match is built around Gedo and Kushida, which is totally fine. Kushida got to do a bunch of arm wrenches to Gedo at one point, drop kicked his arm. Kushida and Tanahashi have fun just wrenching Geto's arm over for a bit and not wanting to tag in Taguchi, which was funny. Yoshihashi and Taguchi had sort of showings. Normally Yoshihashi kind of shines in these things, and so does Taguchi, but they kind of just, did some stuff. There was a top rope ass attack from Taguchi. Eventually, we get Tanahashi and Taguchi hitting stereo planchas on their opponents, which was sort of the highlight there of their involvement. Kushida got his moonsault blocked by Geto's knees. Geto goes for the Geto clutch, and then Kushida counters and Geto taps out to the hoverboard lock. Good stuff. Enjoyed it. Best tag match of the night. Not saying much, though, when the rest of the tag matches were kind of meh. But, yeah, there's your undercard. Kind of a middle-of-the-road undercard. Not anything, super huge. I mean, I would really just say you can kind of skip the undercard, honestly. Not anything you're going to be totally missing is anything if you don't watch it. So, let's get into this G1 matches. We're talking about the B block here once again. Should be some kind of interesting stuff here. As Yujiro Takahashi against Satoshi Kojima, and probably Yujiro's best match in this whole tournament here. The thing I will note at first is there's this pretty much looks like a stripper that doesn't want to be there as Yujiro's woman coming out with him. She basically had a pink bikini on with a thong. And, that she was basically showing you everything. The New Japan cameras were all up in her business. I mean, we got an underneath shot of her vagina. I mean, pretty much. I mean, if it wasn't because the thong was covering it, you would have seen it. It was just that magnified by those New Japan cameras. Certainly have not evolved from anything there. God bless them. Yujiro would get the win here with the Miami Shine again, beating another veteran in this match. But again, it has to do with Cody Hall and also getting a referee bump. Kojima hit his apron DDT. He also hit a super cutter at one point. Yujiro hit a buckle bomb. And the crowd was pretty much on the side of Kojima, and at least they weren't dead silent, which is always appreciated. Kojima hits the lariat, but Cody Hall pulls out the referee at 2 and sends him over the barricade. Kojima is able to fight off Hall, who comes in the ring. Yujiro gets a low blow, and Miami Shine a new referee's in. And the Bullet Club again escape with a win. Yujiro with his second win. He now has 4 points this tournament. Good match. Not anything you really need to go out of your way to see. Yuji Nagata against the IWGP Tag Team Champion Carl Anderson. I like this because once again we have Carl Anderson. He doesn't work in the neck here, but he's working the ribs because he knows from Yujiro's match that was all inflicted there on Yujiro. There was a lot of stuff with the ribs, and so it kind of keeps on here with Anderson. Anderson keeps making fun of Nagata doing his Blue Justice pose, which really irates Nagata at some points. Nagata actually did some fun stuff where he would grab his chest to breathe because it was hurting him that much. Great selling there from Nagata because most people wouldn't even have thought about that, honestly. Anderson made one mistake, though, and he paid for it, where he played around a lot with Nagata, kind of slapped him around, kicked him around, did some moves, did some neck breakers, whatever. But the one time he made a mistake and he kept letting Nagata kind of come back and gain some strength, he paid for it with a super exploder off the top. So you got a big move there from Nagata on Anderson. You also got a nice callback to their tag matches. I mentioned, I think, that Nagata was able to counter the TKO Gunstun into an armbar. We got that again here. And we got the wide eyes as well for a little bit. The crowd was happy. Anderson got a wicked spinebuster on Nagata here as well. They had a nice ending, as usually happens here with these Stun Gun Anderson endings, because this guy knows how to do it. He actually hits Stun Gun on Nagata, but can't make the pin. He tries to go for it again, sort of hits it, but Nagata stands him up and is able to hit a wheel kick and an enziguri. And maybe we should start having the gun stun out of anything start trending on Twitter, because Anderson won after Nagata tries to go with his backdrop suplex and Anderson hits the gun stun out of that. It didn't look pretty, but it got the job done. I enjoyed this. It wasn't anything, stand out crazy, but there was good psychology, some comedy, some action. Pretty good match there. I enjoyed it. But something that I'm sure you will enjoy, because it's just all-out action, Michael Elgin against Tomoaki Hanma. I mean, this was wonderful in all cases. They did not play around, just straight into kicking each other's ass. I mean, and I keep saying Elgin's been improving, but this match, this is his best yet. Oklahoma Stampede from Elgin. He did a stalling suplex, a beautiful deadlift superplex into a Falcon Arrow. It was great. Hanma countered a bunch of blows and hit a DDT, which was nice. He got his deadlift brainbuster, which the crowd loved, and was totally behind Hanma here a lot of the time. The best parts were Elgin doing a deadlift German after a counter to Hanma, which Hanma no-sells. He absolutely no-sells it, and the crowd goes absolutely nuts here. But then after this, he pretty much gets 3 straight bombs. I mean, it shows how much Hanma has to go down to, but Elgin hits a pop-up power bomb, then he lifts him up again for a buckle bomb, and then straight into an Elgin bomb. Just fantastic stuff. We also got to see Elgin hit a nasty, nasty lariat, too, on Hanma. This was great stuff. Go watch this. Tell me that Elgin doesn't deserve to be in this tournament after you watch this match, because I will tell you are wrong. Great stuff from Hanma and Elgin. Hanma keeps secretly delivering in these things, and I've enjoyed him. He has the body of a 30-something-year-old, but man, he has the voice and he smokes like a freaking 80-year-old. Just feel hopefully that never has to affect him negatively. We see the return of Shinsuke Nakamura after missing the last 3 shows. Tomohiro Ishii is his opponent, both in Chaos. And we see the arm is heavily bandaged. Ishii does elbow the arm a few times, but we don't get a lot of him messing with the arm. Nakamura does a lot more kicks in this match to sort of not have to use his arms. Ishii did a lot of no-selling blows from Nakamura, as Nakamura had to figure out other ways to get him down. Ishii got his big flurry with combos on the corner, his lariat, a brainbuster for 2. Things started to heat up with Ishii hitting Nakamura's trademark reverse power slam. Yes, the move he does before he starts doing the Boma-Yi. We get a power bomb from Ishii for 2, a superplex as well for 2. They get up, Nakamura is able to elbow him, then he hits an axe kick, which looks pretty awesome. We get the reverse power slam from Nakamura this time, and a sliding kick. We get some awesome counters as Ishii blocks the Boma-Yi and hits a nasty lariat that makes Nakamura go inside out. Ishii hits the sliding D and gets ready for the brainbuster, but Nakamura counters with a big high kick and a Boma-Yi, but he can't make the cover, so he goes to the second rope, another Boma-Yi. Nakamura is able to, but Ishii kicks out. Nakamura blocks an Ishii lariat with a cross arm breaker, which is pretty awesome. Ishii rolls through, blocks it, and hits a drop kick. Then Nakamura has to pull out the landslide Falcon Arrow, and then another Boma-Yi for the win. Hard fought. I mean, it wasn't anything too special, but Nakamura delivered. Didn't seem like the arm bothered him, but I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does a lot. But still, he was a trooper. Hi. And he came out and wrestled this match. And he would come out and wrestle the tag match on the next show, too. So, the guy is not letting up for these matches. Good to see him back once again. So, we have our main event, which is something that doesn't happen very often, to be quite honest, in New Japan, is a champion versus champion match. We saw it quite a bit sometimes with WWE, but they've kind of toned down on that, even though we did get it on Monday's Raw with Rollins against Cena, where Cena broke his nose. But Hiroki Goto and Kazuchika Okada here, IWGP Intercontinental Champion against IWGP Heavyweight Champion. It felt like a big match, and it delivered like a big match. They didn't have the all-out just kick you in the face, kick in the teeth, whatever match that Shibata and Ibushi had, but they had a much more traditional match that kind of built towards things. I didn't know if I would care for it in the beginning, and then they made me care for it by the end. It just kind of built to a crescendo really nicely here, as Goto dominated early with exchanges, doing a head scissor, doing submissions. The middle was all about Okada, and then things got a bit more even, as it was still mostly about Okada, but then Goto was able to hit his comeback. We got a lot of countering of pin attempts, which doesn't happen that much in Japanese wrestling. We see it all the time in American wrestling, so it was nice to see just a bunch of countering pins and stuff to kind of pad the match out. We got a deadlift German. Okada holds on to it, and then there's a Rainmaker, but it's blocked by a headbutt. Shouting Kai gets blocked again. We did get a Rushi Kuroshi here as well. I forgot. And Okada did his neck breaker. Crazy stuff here at the end with Goto just hitting all kinds of stuff. He hits the Ura Shouting, but he gets that Shouting Kai blocked. He tries to go for a super Arushi Kuroshi, but he gets it blocked. And that's where we get the deadlift German and the try for the Rainmaker. Goto eventually hits a headbutt to block the Rainmaker. He gets the Shouting Kai blocked. He goes for Discus Lariat, but then Okada goes for the Rainmaker. He blocks it with 2 headbutts. And then we finally get the Shouting Kai for the win. Hiroki Goto beats the champion, which means we are going to get another champion versus champion match later on down the road, perhaps in September or October. And Goto's been on this kick about unifying the belts. Perhaps we get a storyline revolving around that coming in the not too distant future. I really enjoyed this match. Great match. Champion versus champion match that delivered big time. And Goto felt like he really deserved to hold that title, and that he felt like a big deal after the match is over. And that's what you want out of this. Great stuff. Highly enjoyed it. So, after night 8, we now have Kazuchika Okada, Hiroki Goto, and Carl Anderson and Tomohiro Ishii at 6 points. Shinsuke Nakamura, Michael Elgin, and Yujiro Takahashi at 4 points. Yuji Nagata and Satoshi Kojima at 2 points. And Tomoaki Hanma is bringing up the rear at 0 points. Definitely check out the main event. If you want to watch Nakamura's return to action, it's still good enough to give it a watch. Hanma Elgin was fantastic as well. Watch that. And the rest you could probably skip. Not anything too crazy, but definitely the last 3 matches I would recommend watching because they were worth the time. So that was night 8 from Osaka. Getting into night 9 that just occurred. It was in Nagoya, inside the Aichi Prefectural Gymnasium. We finally had a great Block B night. One that you can really be proud of if you were, especially because, that was supposed to be the block that had all the veterans, all the guys that we know how to work. And so far it's kind of under-delivered, whereas Block A is really top-heavy, but you have matchups like you're going to see all throughout this card on the G1 matches. And they somehow make it work. So, let's get into this, though. We got a 6-man tag team match, Ryusuke Taguchi, WGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Kushida and Satoshi Kojima against David Finlay, Máscara Dorada, and Tomoaki Hanma. Kojima and Hanma got some nice interactions, a big chop battle to start things off. This is the match where I said Tiger Mask was removed because of the pile driver that he took from AJ. Looks like he has a neck injury. Hopefully it's not serious, so they had to remove Yohei Komatsu as well. And we just got the 6-man tag that I'm describing here. Hanma and Kojima just, like I said, went at it with chops and just went at it. And then even after the bell as well. It was stuff that makes you excited for their match that's coming up on Tuesday. We get a lot. I mean, it almost bordered on too much, though, as we got a lot of the normal spots that we get with Hanma and we normally get with Kojima at this point as well. So hopefully they're able to take that and understand they got to change a few things for when they actually get to do the match on Tuesday. Taguchi trying to do a Kokeshi is always funny. Dorada getting his rope walk spot and the moonsault to the outside. Kushida got the hot tag. And then basically he again makes somebody tap out with the hoverboard lock, this time Finley Jr. as Kushida and his team get the win. Good stuff. This was fun because of the Hama and Kojima interactions, definitely. So we get Jay White and Michael Elgin against Cody Hall and Yujiro Takahashi. Michael Elgin did a stalling suplex spot, the double Samoan drop, which was really cool. He did a rolling front flip even. There was a Michael Elgin chant happen here. Of course, there's nobody to cheer on the other side, and you've got two Gaijins here teaming together. So even though they do like Jay White, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just kind of different to hear Michael Elgin's name being chanted here. So that's certainly something we hope to hear as the tournament continues, because like I said, Michael Elgin continues to impress. And I really hope he gets to stick around or gets to do more things in New Japan after we see him here in this match. A lot of this kind of felt like going through the motions for the heel team. A nasty-looking Tokyo Pimps ends it. And Yujiro and Cody Hall win here. So we get a six-man tag. Captain New Japan, Yuji Nagata, and the IWGP Intercontinental Champion Hiroki Goto against Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Shinsuke Nakamura, who is wrestling in a tag match. And Shinsuke Nakamura came out at the beginning and wanted to start the match. He took punishment to that elbow from, I think, everybody, if I'm not mistaken. And then Ishii would get really pissed at Nagata because Nagata really went after that elbow. And he would stomp the crap out of him in the corner. I mean, like, really stomp him. Nagata eventually gets the White House armbar in, but it's broken up by Nakamura. Nakamura and Goto got to renew their rivalry with a little bit of interaction. Mostly, though, you get to the end, and it's Captain New Japan against Yoshihashi at that point. And Yoshihashi, once again, winning with that swanton. And Team Chaos wins. So we get to the final match in the tag. Tama Tonga and Carl Anderson against Gedo and the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kazuchika Okada. This was pretty fun. Anderson doing his comedy and Gedo trying to be serious was weird. Anderson tossed a chair in the ring and then sat in and did the Rainmaker. Just to prove a point, I guess, that he can make fun of anyone. The reason why you would bring a chair up there for that is just really funny. So after this, Okada and Anderson kind of start. They got interactions here. They were sort of sporadic here and there. It wasn't anything, consistent. Okada got his big comeback flurry, but that was about it. It was about Gedo and Tonga here, as he knocks both Anderson and Tonga down with super kicks, hits a nice DDT on Tonga. And then pretty much the Bullet Club wind up winning when Tama Tonga hits his head shrinker DDT on Gedo. So again, the third time in a row that now Tama Tonga has won with that waistlock DDT or whatever. Just, again, not anything great, but that was still fun nonetheless. So moving along to the A Block G1 matches. These are the weird pairings, and they still somehow made them work. Hiroshi Tenzan, the NWA World Champion, 3-time G1 winner against Kota Ibushi. This was really about Tenzan just being the veteran, beating Ibushi down. He actually makes Ibushi miss the springboard moonsault, which he never really misses most of the time. Tenzan kind of gets in all his stuff. his fireman's carry takedown, his Mongolian chops, which even causes Ibushi to do Mongolian chops of his own, which are really funny. Clotheslines, all the stuff that we normally see Tenzan do. He does it here in a sort of trying to keep Ibushi down way. He had a counter for everything. He stopped Ibushi in his tracks, all that stuff. Ibushi was going to have to use that athleticism to win. And eventually, that is what happens as we get a really cool spot here. We do the Anaconda Vice. He doesn't stay in it too long as Ibushi gets out of it, and then he tries to do the Anaconda Buster, and he flips out of it. Pretty awesome stuff. As after that, it was kind of seemed like it was going in one-way traffic. We get the Phoenix Splash, and Ibushi wins, gets more points, but the tale here was told. The veteran lost because Ibushi's more athletic, but he sold for him, and it made the match better than it probably would have been otherwise. Moving along, Katsuri Shibata gets Bad Luck Fale. Both guys have 6 points. So this one's the battle for who has the lead in Block A. This did not last very long. It was really Fale kind of dominating and beating up Shibata, as Shibata kind of just tried to get in some blows here and there. Fale whipped Shibata into the barricade and then beat him down there. As Shibata came back in at 19, there's been a lot, and I mean a lot, of almost count-out spots. I mean, it seems like it's really crazy at this point. Between the shows and how many times I've had to talk about it, it's just been way too many of these roll-up spots. I hope this is not something they're planning to roll out in G1, because I don't want to see it. If you're gonna sort of take away something and then bring this back, I would really hope they it's kind of getting cumbersome though, because they're using this in almost every match. Every match on this show in particular uses the count out thing. Whether it's coming in at 8 like Ibushi or coming in at 19 like Shibata, or Yano and Tanahashi fighting each other to make sure one of them gets in and they both wind up getting in. I mean, kudos to them for trying, but my lord, it's just when you're doing it too many times on one show, just enough already. And between that and the whipping somebody into the barricade, my goodness. I mean, it seems like every match on this show was whipping somebody in the barricade, whipping someone in the barricade. I mean, I'm cool with it, but, boy. Anyway, so, moving along, after Shibata was out, and it looked like he would have been out, he gets back in, he does the basement drop kick, Fale keeps beating him down. He tried twice with a sleeper hold, but both times Fale is able to counter by slamming Shibata into the corner while he still got the sleeper on, so he basically backed into the corner with Shibata on top of him. They kind of kept countering. He tried to get a bad luck fall, and then he hits the sleeper. That gets Fale down. Penalty kick, and Shibata is standing alone in the standings with 8 points so far. Great stuff from these guys. Enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I thought it would. So, props to you all. So we get match 7. AJ Styles against Doc Gallows. Well, you would have thought that this was going to be bad, but somehow they made this work. You could hear them calling spots pretty bad, though, as there's no commentary, so there's no one to kind of hide them. I'll tell you, it was a little bit much at times with the audible spots by AJ and Doc Gallows as well. Gallows got to hit his 2 big moves, the one-man magic killer and the jackhammer. He got a nice-looking apron choke slam on AJ as well. AJ kind of he worked from underneath. He didn't do a whole lot of moves per se. He was able to get the calf killer on Gallows and then hit the Bloody Sunday at one point for the win. Like I said, it's entertaining, caught my attention. Go watch it if you got some extra time out there. So, here we go to the semifinal. The never openweight champion, Togi Makabe, against Tetsuya Naito. It took a while for the action to pick up, as Naito felt like forever to take off his jacket and suit. Eventually, Makabe did not like this and went after him. Naito went nuts on him for going after him, because he's thinking, you will not interrupt my entrance, damn it. And I guess I can't blame him, but man, that Naito seems to get perturbed over anything. Now, Naito took him to the outside again, ramming him into the barricade. Lots of different blows and submissions to the neck. I mean, the psychology here by Naito is just tremendous. I really enjoyed it. Naito got out of the ring and wouldn't go in as he tried to slide in a couple times, alluding back to their tag match. Finally, Makabe is able to start giving Naito lariats. And Makabe got all in his usual spots on Makabe as he took advantage of... actually, Makabe got all of his spots on Naito, I'm sorry. The DVD, what else? A slam, a few other things. As Naito was getting too overconfident, which is the story here. As Naito just thought that he was going to be roll over and beat Makabe. And fantastic stuff here. I really, really enjoyed it. As we get... I mean, this was much better than it really should have been, honestly. I thought this was going to be a sort of a stinker, but it probably wound up being the best match of the night, honestly. As when we go to the top rope, Makabe tries to do the spotter German suplex. Naito keeps blocking it. So Makabe rams, and I mean rams, Naito's head into the steel pole. In fact, Naito is busted open because he ran him so hard into that steel pole. He does get the spider German suplex, King Kong knee drop. Sorry, I'm just being Mr. Gibberish today. Naito's heel character again, full blown here, going crazy. This match was booked so that Naito would seem overconfident. He was really beating down Makabe, and then Makabe got the win. Looks strong here going into the next night. Really good stuff from both guys. So we get to the main event. Hiroshi Tanahashi gets Toru Yano. A rematch of many of the undercards of the big events for New Japan, including Dominion, that's recently happened about 3 weeks ago. The cool thing about this is that Yano and Tanahashi both pulled out like different stuff to do in this match. Ever since Yano pointed at him and laughed at the New Japan Cup for beating him, this feud has been going on, and this should be the last one of these matches, hopefully. Yano goes for his break routine, but Tanahashi puts Yano in a leg submission while Yano's still holding onto the ropes, because Tanahashi knows what Yano does in these situations. Good job on him. We get a funny spot with Yano trying to skin the cat, which is hilarious, as he cannot do it. And he, as my dog is going nuts because he heard something apparently. Just a freaking crazy funny stuff. That was just really funny. He couldn't even flip over. He was like barely getting up to his chest, I think. It was just great. Tanahashi slams Yano's head into the steel pole, again reopening his wound as they're on the outside here. And Yano gets hit into the pole, but Yano just moves right when Tanahashi's trying to run, and Tanahashi cross-bodies the pole. I mean, it was... You cringe, because Tanahashi really shouldn't be taking these kinds of moves, but he's a trooper and does it. Yano tries to expose the turnbuckle and whips Tanahashi into it about 4 different times. That's got to be killing Tanahashi's back. Yano gets a nice stalling suplex for a 2 count. Tanahashi gets Yano to go into the exposed turnbuckle himself. And then they go to the outside again as Tanahashi tries to go for the high five photo to the outside, but Yano actually avoids it by going under the ring, which, again, hilarious, because he just goes under the ring. Tanahashi's like, what the hell? And then Yano shows up on the other end, and he tries to do his taunt. Tanahashi gets upset, baseball slides Venetta's plancha over the ropes because Yano was being silly. After this, we also get this is where we get the spot where they're trying to beat each other into the ring, because Yano tosses Tanahashi, literally. Like he does one of those catapult tosses of Tanahashi into the barricade. And so they get up at like think it's 17 or 18, and they try to beat each other into the ring, and they both wind up sliding into the ring at the same time anyway. So what they were trying to do kind of failed. Still, again, pretty funny here. They were obviously trying not to get counted out and almost did. Yano got his power bomb. He got a roll up for 2. He countered a backslide with some referee help for a really close near fall. Red Shoes almost gets put into a double German spot by Tanahashi, but he's able to be let go. But then is sent over the ropes in this happening as well. So we get to the end of the match as both guys do that inverted atomic drop spot where they're both grabbing their groins, hurting. Tanahashi hits a sling blade, but he misses the high fly flow as Yano gets his knees up. Yano gets his chair. The referee takes it away. And then Tanahashi dragon screws Yano, and the chair hits Red Shoes in the face, taking him out again. Tanahashi hits a swinging neck breaker, a sling blade onto the chair, which the referee doesn't see because he's out. Gets the high fly flow, and Tanahashi wins. Some really good stuff. And again, they tried different things. I enjoyed it. If you don't like a Yano match, I'm sorry, but I think this is another one of those you're going to enjoy because Tanahashi works hard. Tries to always get his opponents over. He does it here again. Yano held his own. Tanahashi gets 6 points, and we move along. That is the end of Night 9. This wasn't a blowaway show by any means, but every match, even though you thought the pairing wasn't going to work, somehow it does. They told nice stories. They made the wrestling work. Good stuff. And, it was really enjoyable to watch. It was short and sweet, a lot of the matches. Nothing went overstayed its welcome. It was fine and good stuff to watch. I really, really enjoyed it. So here are the final standings as we're current up to Night 9. Katsuri Shibata with 8 points alone and leading the A block. Tetsuya Naito, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, AJ Styles, Togi Makabe, and Bad Luck Fale all have 6 points. Toru Yano, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Doc Gallows all have 2 points. Man, talk about a log jam in the middle there. Again, to reiterate, Kazuchika Okada, Hiroki Goto, Carl Anderson, and Tomohiro Ishii all have 6 points. Shinsuke Nakamura, Michael Elgin, and Yujiro Takahashi have 4. Yuji Nagata and Satoshi Kojima have 2, and Tomoaki Hama bringing up that rear with the 0 points. Again, like I said, nothing blow away, but an enjoyable show that you can get through pretty quickly. I enjoyed it. I would recommend just watching all the G1 matches because they work somehow here. So I think on the Thursday show that we're going to have, we will be way more past, we'll be way past the halfway point of the G1 by we get to Thursday. So Paul and I will probably discuss what we've liked, what we don't like, what we like about the format, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to go through it myself here. It's going to take too much time, and this is really about kind of just giving you a recap and review of the nights as they pass and not try to sit here and just have this big conversation by myself because that's kind of defeating the purpose here. So let's get into the last thing that we normally do, which is previewing the next night, which will be they take a break on Monday and they come back on August 4th, which is on Tuesday morning, 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Those shows on the weekends, they kind of killed me. Like I said, I had to stay up because I finished watching Night 8, and then an hour later had to watch Night 9, the Roddy Piper tragic death. We were doing the W2M special. I literally had 1 hour I got to sleep. Instead of staying up, I decided to sleep, and then I woke up and it was like 8 in the morning, and I didn't get a chance to watch. I had to watch the G1 matches when I got home, so Night 8 was the only show I didn't get to watch live, but every other show I have gotten up to, and I can I'm much better with going to bed at like 11 or 12 and getting up at 5:30. I'd much rather deal with that than having to do the whole staying up till 3, staying up till 2 kind of deal, because it's just, by the time you get done with it, you're like, I want to go to sleep, and I still got to write this review, and it's just, my goodness, so much there going on. So we're going to get Night 10 in Sendai, and the Sun Plaza Hall holds about 2,700 people. Let's get to the card for that show. As I am trying to find it here, we get Ryusuke Taguchi and Tiger Mask, if he's back, against Jay White and David Finlay Jr. Should be your tag match, you know. Yohei Komatsu and Katsuyori Shibata against Yoshihashi and Toru Yano. Oh, Shibata and Yano, man. I cannot wait for that G1 match. Because talk about the guy that gives no fucks about what Yano wants to pull out of his bag of tricks. Shibata has no time for it. Oh, I can't wait for that match. It's going to be funny or just destruction for Yano. Kushida and Tetsuya Naito against Mascara Dorada and Kota Ibushi. Oh, Naito and Ibushi too? Oh, my goodness. Talk about, could be some good stuff, especially because, you know, Ibushi ain't going to deal with Naito stuff either. Captain New Japan, Hiroshi Tenzan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Togi Makabe against Toma Tonga. Bad Luck Fale, Doc Gallows, and AJ Styles. As it's Makabe and AJ meeting up for that one. And Doc Gallows against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Oof. Probably not something I'm going to look forward to. But hey, if AJ got something out of Gallows, maybe Tanahashi will do so as well. Should be an interesting tag match, 8-man tag there. Michael Elgin against Yujiro Takahashi. I hope Elgin just destroys Yujiro. I just really hope he does. Just no point in Yujiro really getting to do much because Elgin should be able to beat him. No problems there. Hopefully, it's Elgin just having a big power fest on Yujiro. Satoshi Kojima against Tomoaki Hama. They had nice interactions in that tag. Should be really fun. I'm excited to see this match. Hanma's just been delivering after delivering and delivering some more. I have just been completely floored with how Hanma has delivered. Kojima's been pretty good as well, so this should be good. Yuji Nagata against Tomohiro Ishii, hard hitting. Nagata's been impressive in this tournament as well. Man, just the Asus wonder is Nagata. Ishii's been great too. This should be fun. Kazuchika Okada against Carl Anderson. Let's see if all of Anderson's antics are going to be met with Okada's fury here. I wouldn't be surprised if Anderson wins another big match, but I don't think Anderson's going to have an IC title match and an IWGP Heavyweight title match in the same year. So Okada should win here. Hiroki Goto and Shinsuke Nakamura. Third time is a charm, or maybe fourth time. As the rematch happens, Nakamura probably should get his win back here, I think. But who knows? Maybe Goto wins again, just to continue to solidify that title, which wouldn't be a bad thing. So, that's your card for Night 10. After that card, we'll be in the halfway point of the tour. Like I said, on Thursday night or Friday morning, which again, I'll be having to talk about another G1 show on a Friday morning. But after we do our regular W2M episode, in that episode, Paul and I will talk about what we think of the G1 during the halfway point and all that stuff, the format, all that kind of stuff. So, should be fun. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of extra long edition. And if you haven't checked out our tribute to Roddy Piper, I would. And also check out our Wrestle Max regular episode where we talked more about Hogan and his issues. We talked about the network and how it's doing well after the Q2, all the stuff from the Q2 findings and everything. We reviewed Raw and all the other Wednesday shows. So, have at it. Yes, we do more than just this G1 show. We have a regular episode that's on Thursday nights live, 11 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. Or you can always listen on demand where we have iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, VOC Nation Radio, the Podbean app, the Spreaker app. There's so many places, Downcast, where we are available. You can listen to us there. Rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps. You like the podcast. You want more people to listen to it so that we can have better opportunities for this show, be able to grow it and everything else. Not only should you use word of mouth and tell your friends, tell them to join that W2M Facebook group, tell them to follow us on Twitter at Wrestling2Max, but the best way you can help us, I'm telling you right now, go to iTunes, go to Stitcher, rate and review us. It will help us so much. Please, thank you. It doesn't take a long time. I do it for other podcasts. It'd be great if you did it for us. But whether it's positive or negative, I'll take it. Alright, guys. that's it for nights 8 and 9. And I'll see you again for night 10. Later, everybody. Remember, if you're not living life to the max, you are not living life at all. Because you know it.